reports the store at 17 and range line has been hit.
321, I've got about possibly 30 people trapped inside the restaurant here.
The little kids that were in there, I remember hearing that over the older people just because it seemed so much more genuinely scared. It kind of settled down for a second, and I think it's over. Right when that happened, then the second part of it hit. The ceiling dropped 3 feet. As the walls of the building got blown away, I could look out and just see the sky.
I love everyone, man. Yeah, I love you guys. Are we okay? I love you. Jesus, Heavenly Father. Yes.
When it passed, everyone was kind of just either it had knocked them over, or like I was sitting on top of someone's legs.
Is anyone okay below me? I'm here, I'm okay. Alright, I'm trying not to lay on someone.
Somebody's on my back.
Everyone was just in shock because you didn't know whether or not people were hurt at that point.
This is under me.
This is FM 102.9, AM 1310, and we do have Chad, and Chad will be joining us now. We'll check in with him. Good evening, Chad.
Hey, John, I am on Rangeline Road.
We were listening to the AM radio station in Joplin. We made a quick decision. A photographer and I hopped in the car and just headed west to Joplin.
Rangeline is flooding. I am plowing through the water right now.
We were just preparing to do normal reporting, and it was just going to be a normal shift.
Oh my, there are people that are not to be injured right now, Josh. There are probably people, fatalities right now. People are trapped in buildings. There are buildings missing, Josh, that used to be here. They're totally gone.
Once we came in and started seeing the destruction, that's when we started to get a sense of this is bigger than what we anticipated.
Battalion 1, this is Chief 1. Go ahead. I have clearing skies off to the west, so we look to be towards the end of this event. We do have a tremendous amount of debris out here in the 2 area. Looks like this is going to be very near the path of the tornado.
We had literally thousands, if not tens of thousands, of 911 calls in the first 24 hours. Most of us are used to tornadoes that move through an area very quickly and then are gone. This one took 30 minutes to get across town. Normally we can get out a lot faster and start responding. We just weren't able to with this one.
Go slower, dude. Debris, nails. Go slower.
We saw debris, but we saw houses and buildings intact. I was thinking, okay, the tornado brushed just, the north side of town or something like that.
This is bad.
Oh my gosh.
This is bad.
Oh my gosh. It wasn't until we got deeper into Joplin that we started to notice some pretty heavy damage.
Okay, are you talking to Kevin? What do you want to know? I don't know. Walking around. I don't know.
And that's when we somehow met up with Kevin and his dad. We ended up in the same place, and I said, hey, we need to start pulling people out of the rubble.
Look at that. That is destroyed completely.
When we first parked, we couldn't see anyone. Nobody was out walking around. Nobody was to be seen because it literally just happened. People were still trying to crawl out from the rubble.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I was definitely not mentally prepared to see what I saw, or I don't think the other guys were either. It was total devastation.
At some point, it was like we just kind of felt like sitting ducks. I said, well, we probably should move, and we probably should go towards where the sun is. And so we actually headed west.
Oh, I don't know, missing?
Got about half a block, and we saw a tree down, saw another tree down, and I remember one house there being 3 or 4 trees falling every which way, and the house was actually missed. And I remember saying, oh, they got it real bad on this part. And then as we're driving, there's a fence line, and once we cross that fence line, it was like a bomb went off.
Oh! Oh!
The more you went west, the more it got more serious.
Can you head through that way? 20th?
I remember it just being calm. Like, it was all this destruction, all this chaos, but it was like eerily quiet. You could hear the alarm, like alarms going off, honking. That was the majority of the noise at that time. And then the rain, it was still raining. It almost looked like you hit pause. This was like the end of the world.
Where my room used to be. See, on the end, right there with the balloon. Watch out for those. See where that room is gone? Right above. Right here. Above the window. Over. Right above. Well, no, that room that's above. That was my dad's. And then the room that's completely gone, that's mine.
After the boys, as I call them, fanned out to try to see who they could help in the area, I'd stayed behind with the vehicles.
I cannot believe this. Pulled a lady out with a broken neck. A gentleman approached me and said, there's a lady that's underneath her own wall. She can't get out, and she's really hurt. As we were talking with her, holding the wall up, she said that her back was hurting her and she couldn't sit up. So we decided to get a door that we found in the rubble and put her on the door and take her to a waiting pickup truck that was going to take people to the hospital.
Yeah, I remember the man with his baby son, and the baby was bleeding really bad.
They had been in a pickup that got hit, and he asked whether we could get him to the hospital. We said sure. And so we headed out to the hospital.
Broadcasting live from the darkened KZRG 24-hour storm center. Power is out. We are running on backup generators at this hour.
And it was like driving through a war zone, needless to say. As soon as we topped this little crest, you could see the hospital, and our hearts just sank like, oh my gosh, now what do we do?
I understand it's clear. I got calls from the station that the hospitals were there. I'm trying to get to that side of town. They're just people, Josh, stunned. They're standing, sobbing on the...
I think we lost Chad Elliott.